Welcome back to Talking Bad. I'm here with Blake finally. Blake, we kind of missed you last episode.
I was here. We talked about last
You,
episode.
yes. You were here, but the viewers did not get a chance to hear you very much because we had some technical difficulties.
Yeah. So that did not go well at all then, obviously.
Well, I was able to, I tried to save the episode as much as I could. Basically, we had a great conversation going, and I just kind of took out all the parts where I was answering your questions or asking you questions.
So basically, I was just out of the whole thing.
You kind of fade out within the first 5 minutes, so you're just kind of gone, and I just kind of give vague summaries for 10 more minutes.
All right, well,
of what I really
like.
like.
We're back now. Let's get it going.
Get right into it. We're here for episode 2 called Madrigal, which I still can't pronounce right.
Yeah, stop.
For your investigation, I pledge Madrigal's full cooperation and transparency.
We're here to talk partnership. 3 ways. You, Jesse, and me.
Who killed Gus?
Haven't I told you not to worry about that?
There's gold in the streets. Just waiting for someone to come and scoop it up.
But we were just talking about how last episode we were talking and we had no idea what this was even referring to. And then you just said, no, we're idiots because it's obviously the name of the company that's funding, or was funding, Gus's operation and all these other restaurants.
That's something right there, yeah. I mean, and I guess you could get into that right away because that was in the cold opening. You know, you see this guy at first, obviously you don't know what's going on. I mean, you have a clue. I knew right when I'm watching it, okay, this guy's a higher up here. He's testing this food. We knew that Los Hermanos was through a bigger company. So you're kind of wondering that. At least I was the first time watching that at first. He comes walking down the hallway, anyway, of this company, and you see about 6 of these food chains.
Well,
Los Hermanos is one of them.
Yeah, but first, am I wrong, or did it open with him taste testing the different sauces?
Yes.
Yes, the French and ranch, the Franch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yes, sounds amazing. I just wanted to mention that because I thought it was funny because I read an article on the Huffington Post that said the reason why Franch is in the episode is because the creator 20 years ago wrote a comedy that had Franch in it, and it never got sold, and he wanted to put it in something. So he said 20 years ago, I wrote a comedy in which a scientist accidentally kills God and feels really terrible about it. Meanwhile, his former lab assistant goes on to fame and fortune by inventing something called Franch, a salad dressing that's half French, half ranch. I confess I was cannibalizing an idea from an old script, but since it's clearly never going to be made into a movie, I figured, what the hell. Yes. So I wanted to bring up Franch because when that first started, I'm like, well, what's going on here? And then I'm slowly thinking, do we have a new Gus on our hands? Or are we going to have to wait? And then all of a sudden, we just don't.
Right. But I think the key thing here is when he's walking down that hallway,
right,
and you see these fast food logos, and then you see Los Hermanos being taken down. It's like, oh my God, look at this empire.
Yeah.
It wasn't Los Hermanos. I mean, you're talking, obviously, I think it stems out to all of these fast food chains. I think that's what we're all thinking at this point. Like, this is a worldwide thing.
That could be a theory. Here. Yeah, definitely. I mean, who knows if it was just this Polo Locos place or if it's multiple of them. We don't know. How can we even know?
Polo Locos, no. See, we can't have things like that. We can't have things like that. People aren't going to take us seriously. Polo Locos, people aren't going to take us seriously.
I'm sorry, Polo Locos.
No.
Los Hermanos.
Yes. Now, listen, the important thing through this whole thing is, okay, after this, what was his name here? I've got it, Mr. Schuler.
Yes.
Once he killed himself, then we've got the grandson of the guy who started the whole thing of Madrigal.
Okay.
He's sitting in here with, lawyers and, DEA, all these people. And he's saying, obviously, Schuler's guilty. An innocent man doesn't kill himself.
Okay, hold on. We have to stop you right there. That scene that you're talking about, I was just going to ask you about because I did not see that scene.
Ah.
The second that scene came on, there was a child abduction somewhere near here. And they put up a child abduction.
Oh.
And they put up the emergency broadcast thing for a good 2 or 3 minutes, and it was right in that scene. So start over and tell me that scene again, because I did not have any clue what happened there.
Okay, well, first of all, that's funny that happened to you, because about the first 3 minutes of the whole entire episode for me was just, you know, and I just couldn't hear anything. I'm losing my mind. It was like the series finale of Lost, when we just couldn't even watch it at all because something happened to the station.
Right.
So anyway, it comes in after that cold opening.
Okay.
Okay, and we come back and we've got the grandson of the guy that started Madrigal.
Okay.
So now this is obviously an older man as well.
Right.
But he's the grandson. This company's been around for a very long time. And he's sitting in a room with lawyers, agents of all sorts, and he's just kind of giving his take on it. They're obviously asking him, hey, what do you know about this? Why would this whole Gus Fring's going down? Why did Mr. Schuler kill himself? What's this all about? And he's sitting here saying, hey, the actions of Mr. Schuler don't resonate well with this company and all these things. But at the same time, now you're sitting here going, well, wait a minute.
Right.
There's the real head honcho of this whole thing. It's got to be this guy. It has to be.
He has to know what's going on.
And here's what we're going to find out. Here's my little idea. Mr. Schuler ran the whole meth thing through the fast food chains. Well, we know that Madrigal has appliance companies, electronic companies, all sorts of shit going on. There's got to be tons of Schulers that are all under this grandson. I don't know if they said his name, but this thing's way bigger than anyone, I think, probably imagined. That Gus was running the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. See, that's, I was always wondering if there was somebody above Gus or whether he was just this brilliant guy that kind of was taking out cartels and stuff.
Right.
But,
well, it makes me think of, it just, and real quick about that, it makes me think of one scene where, in this previous episode, where Walt, Jesse, and Mike are sitting there, and Walt and Jesse are trying to get him back aboard.
That's this episode, right?
This same episode, yeah, and I might be skipping ahead a little bit, but it goes directly with this.
Okay.
Where Walt tells Mike, hey, we'll split everything absolutely even. We're talking about being owners, not employees. And it's like, no, you don't even know, dude. You're still an employee. I mean, these owners are huge.
Right. But I really liked that scene. It was one of my favorites because, of course, Mike was in it. Mike's my favorite. But he was just like, no, because you're a ticking time bomb, and it's only a matter of time, and I want to be around when you're going to blow.
Yeah.
Mike, and we find out later, Mike's got this granddaughter, and we're skipping all over the place, but it's fine. We'll get there. We don't have to give a summary of the whole episode. Anyone listening, watch the episode. But Mike, has this granddaughter, and, Hank and them pull him in to question him. And they basically say, look, we found all that money you guys had stashed away, even the $2 million under your daughter's name. And we froze it all, so you have no access to it. Well, basically, you find out Mike was kind of doing all this stuff for his granddaughter the same way that Walt was doing it for his family in the beginning.
Right.
But now, Mike is even more like the old Walt, and Walt's now more like Gus. You know what I mean? They've completely switched.
I actually never thought of that. But you're absolutely right. I never thought about that. Him doing it for his granddaughter. Like, obviously, that's what they brought her in for. I didn't look into it that deep. But yeah, you're right.
And that's why when you fast forward to the end, he goes to kill the lady, who we'll talk about here in a minute. And she starts saying, don't bury my body or anything. Leave me here. I don't want my daughter to think that I abandoned her. And that made him think of his granddaughter and was like, all right, well, can you get us some methamphetamine?
Right.
Getting back in the swing of things.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to go back earlier to the cigarette thing, because I think that was a major plot point that's going to come back, obviously.
Well, it is. And I was thinking about, I actually, in my little notes here, wrote under talking about that, loved that scene.
Yeah.
And because basically, we see how manipulative Walt is now,
Yeah.
and he's just going to get worse. But for him to do this, obviously, we know that he poisoned the little boy. Man, I can't think. I don't know. Jacob, Derek, it was something.
It began with a B. Began with a B.
Brock.
Brock.
It was Brock.
Okay, good.
We know he poisoned Brock anyway, but it's just amazing how he had this cigarette the whole time, does his little thing where he puts the fake one in there, puts it in the Roomba. This is how manipulative he is. And then Jesse breaks down like, man, I can't believe I was going to kill you. But really, it's like, Jesse, you were right.
Yeah.
You were right. You just don't realize it because he manipulated you.
Yeah.
That was...
so, it's just very weird this season to be thinking back to that when that happened. I was like, don't kill him, Jesse. Don't kill him. And now I'm like, dude, you probably should have killed him.
Yeah.
Probably just should have killed him.
I believe now, like, they're hinting at all this. I mean, Walt has put Jesse through so much. And again, the manipulation, all of these things that he's done to him, it's going to come down to Walt and Jesse, dude.
Well,
I think, at some point.
Yeah, Walt's been manipulating Jesse to really, like, push his limits. And, like, here, you've already killed one guy, kill another guy. You've already done this. He keeps pushing him. And then all of a sudden, he's just going to piss him off. And he's like, well, now I've done all this shit. Guess what, motherfucker?
Yeah.
I'll come after you with a gun now. I've done it before.
Yeah, he knows how to kill, for sure.
But I think it was interesting how he didn't just put the cigarette back. Like, he actually put a fake one in there and then hid the ricin in the light socket. Why? Why didn't he just get rid of it?
Well, he thought about it. He was about to flush it.
Yeah.
He was about to flush it, and then he was like, you know what? I'm going to need this. I'm going to need this at some point. I'm going to hold on to this. He didn't want to go through the process of making it again, so he's like, I'm going to keep this, and I guarantee it's going to come in handy. That was also obviously a very important thing. I mean, they showed him putting it in the wall with the camera behind the wall. I mean, this is very important. That's
a very, we'll get back to this later, but we're definitely going to revisit this light socket type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, I wouldn't want to keep any poison of any kind in the same house or under the same roof as his wife, because while I think it's awesome that his wife hasn't spoken very much in the last few episodes, because I don't like her character, she is basically scared to death of everything Walt does.
Right. And we know, like, the advances that he's trying to put on her and stuff, and at the same time, he knows that he's this huge thing now, and he knows he's the man. And he doesn't really care, that what she's feeling and all this. I don't think he really cares, because he's like, look, you're in this now too.
Right.
You're with the car wash, with the embezzlement, all of this stuff. There's nothing you can do about it. You're just as bad as me.
Right. And he got a little rapey there towards the end of the episode. Got a little rapey.
Yeah. But I think she's realizing it too. I mean, I think we're going to see her actually come around again. I do believe she's going to come around. Yeah.
You think she's going to come around to him, or is she going to do something that's going to resort to, she could just basically go to Hank or go to her goddamn sister, who she tells everything to, and be like, I just can't take it anymore. My God, I'm so terrified. Don't tell your husband. And then, of course, Purple Shirt's going to go tell her husband.
I think she's in too deep, man, and she'll be too afraid to do something like that, and she's just going to have to go along with it and hope for the best, and probably even try to get in on his schemes to help him out again.
Or she might try to kill him.
Take some pressure off of him. I mean, that could be too. Man, what if the last episode is just her standing there pointing a gun at him in the family room or something?
Oh my God! See,
who even knows? Let's talk about this. The most important scene, I think, was Hank and Gomez are sitting in their boss's office.
Okay.
And he's basically saying, well, you guys did a great job. I had nothing to do with this. It kind of all comes down on me that I didn't have anything to do with it. I'm being let go. I don't know if it was a mutual thing where they're like, you need to step down.
Yeah,
whatever it was.
Done.
They're sitting there talking, having a drink.
I had him out to my house. 4th of July, we cooked out in the backyard. My son shucked the corn, my daughter cut up potatoes. Fring brought sea bass. Every time I grill it now, I make a little foil pouch just like he showed me. That whole night we were laughing, telling stories, drinking wine. And he's somebody else completely. Right in front of me. Right under my nose.
And then, it goes to Hank, and he just has this real puzzled look on his face.
Yeah.
And then kind of looks back up to him, and then it goes to commercial. Now, we can interpret that. Interpret. We can interpret that two ways. The creator's just going, hey, let's put some drama in this. And that could be, and it really could have just been Hank going, being sitting here going, yeah, man, that sucks. Can't believe that. But to us viewers, it's us going, oh my God, he's thinking. He knows it's Walt. He's going to start getting on Walt's case now.
I just think that's the one critique I would have, I guess, with the show right now, is that if you've been a cop for God knows how many long, and your one thing that gets you out of bed after you've been shot is searching for your Heisenberg, and you look back and the Walter White's initials are in the lab guy's notes, and suddenly, randomly, Walters explains that, oh, well,
It was Walt Whitman.
It was, supposedly.
Well, yeah, right. But that's what he at least found in the book covered him.
But his chemist brother-in-law suddenly has tons of money enough to buy a car wash. It's like, if you're a cop, you gotta look into that a little bit. You can't be that retarded to the fact,
You buy the whole gambling scenario. And
I guess.
But see, I don't think he is buying it. That's also the thing. I don't think he is buying it.
There's some theories out there right now that he's actually on to Walt, but just not showing it.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause you're right. All of the things that have happened, you're right. I mean, he's got to be thinking a little more than that.
We definitely saw a brand new character. This Lydia showed up in this one, who kind of out of nowhere meets with Mike. And really, this whole episode was about Mike, I felt.
It was a Mike-centric episode. That was the first line I wrote in my notes.
We got to see his house. We know he likes to drink in shore and beer.
Yeah. Real quick, what was funny about that whole beginning of that scene, it was right after he had told Walt and Jesse, no, I'm not in, I'm out.
Right.
And so now we've got Mike at this diner. This lady walks in. She's got the big sunglasses on. She's very nervous. They're having this little chit-chat, and I'm like, this is Mike just going back to being just kind of like a regular tough guy hitman / thing, and he's going to be like, God, this is awful. I got to go with Walt and Jesse. But then it turned out to obviously be much more than that. But that was what I first thought it was.
Right. She actually wanted him to kill everybody that was worked there. He said no, so she went to the next dude down the line, and he was like, I see. And there's people that are saying like the next guy wouldn't have talked, but then the money got froze. So by the time she got to the next dude, he's like, well, I have no money and I'm scared, so yes, I'm going to shoot everybody else. But of course, Mike gets the little puppet who knocks and puts it on the door.
Great idea.
It really reminded me of that scene, I think it was last season, where he walks in and he has the gun up against the wall and he's asking like the Chinese guy at the desk, like, aim higher, lower, which way, because there's a guy behind him. You don't remember that?
Kinda. I mean, it should, right? I mean,
Mike walked in and there had been bad guys there ready to shoot him, but they were hiding inside this doorway, inside this little room. And Mike thought about it and put the gun up to the wall, and the guy's like, higher, with his head. So he aims it. That's what it reminded me of. Mike's has some pretty sweet hits when he's, when he has those scenes, like when he's in the back of the truck and they try to shoot up the truck.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that was sweet. And when he's just sitting on the chair and he's like, all right, you ready? And he's like, Mike, no, just blasts him. Awesome.
Yeah. And like, well, it had to be done. Yep. But I don't know whether they're going to take this Lydia character because she tried to kill everybody. You know what I mean?
She is now the supplier of the methylamine.
Right.
Which is like the main ingredient, obviously, that they need. Jesse said, hey, we can go back to pseudo, which would have just negated her. They wouldn't have needed her if they went to pseudo, but that wasn't going to make the same product. Walt said, absolutely not. We need the methylamine. So Mike knew this, and that's why he told her, I'm not going to kill you, but you know what? You have to supply us with the methylamine. Obviously, she has the means of getting this. I'm not really sure what she does. I didn't pick up
I think
on
she's
that.
just an executive.
Okay, but she has the ability to get them what they need to make the blue stuff.
Right, definitely.
So she's very important, actually, at this point.
To them, yes. But, she's still, that doesn't, her whole motivation was the cops are on us. We have to kill everybody to make sure they don't talk.
True.
That's still the case.
Yeah, true. Right.
So it's going to be a little bit of a trust issue, I think. But, got old Mike back in there. One of my favorite scenes, I think you mentioned it, was Jesse, dude. When he broke down crying, I'm just like, wow. He is crying over a cigarette he found in a Roomba. That's pretty good acting.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't about that. It was about him going, man. But obviously, the acting, that was phenomenal for sure. It's funny how I used to just hate him, and I'm like, he's all right. He's all right.
Yeah. He turned out, they really built up his character. They just had an interview with him on this website, the AV Club, and it's a huge interview. It's really cool with this Aaron Paul guy. Mm-hmm. And basically he said, they shot the first 8, they're taking 4 months off, and then they're going to shoot the second 8, and they don't know anything about it yet. But they just said they asked him, you just recently wrapped on the first 8 of the final 16, and he was like, yeah, and it was a brutal 8. And they said, they asked him, you've said this is the darkest season. Does that take a toll on you? And he's like, yeah, but at the same time, it's going to suck to miss all these guys when the show's over. I can't believe it's finally coming. And they're like, well, it's just unbelievable that it could get any darker than last season, especially for Jesse, because that was really rough on him, season 4. And he goes, and this is what he said. He replied, he goes, I have no idea. There's always a glimmer of hope that you wish. You always have the glimmer of hope that you wish for Jesse, but I just don't know if it's going to happen. This is a show called Breaking Bad, and it keeps getting more twisted. We already see the finish line, and we're starting to go at a steady pace into a full sprint. And the final 8, I know it's just going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty exciting. He's not giving any spoilers, but he's just like, look, there's no way I can see this ending well.
Maybe it's all going to turn around, and no one's going to like Jesse anymore. Who knows? Well,
if he finds out, we're all waiting for the moment when he finds out that Walt poisoned this Brock kid.
It's got to happen.
Yeah.
And it will happen. Saul knows.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he does know. Saul does know. I forgot about that. Well, I have 2 theories that I came up with this week. And one, after seeing the ricin getting hidden again, and we actually saw it, it wasn't just thrown out or something. One of my theories is that, it's suddenly going to be revealed to Jesse that from Walt, or Walt will be there, that Walt was the one that killed Brock. And Jesse will just turn around and be like...
didn't kill him, he's fine, but...
And Jesse's going to... Right, almost killed him. But then Jesse will turn around and be like, yeah, I knew about 2 months ago when you just had ricin, bitch. And, just sudden, tricked us all, and that would be really cool.
Yeah,
and
it would be.
My other theory is that there's some reason that Walt Jr. really, really loves breakfast, and at the end of the series, he's going to throw down his crutches and walk away being the mastermind of it all. Something's there. Breakfast. He loves breakfast.
He's always eating breakfast.
Every scene with him is, can I breakfast? It's just always breakfast.
You're right, yeah.
I think there was another shot of him just getting ready to eat breakfast. But I don't know what next season. I didn't see the preview. Did you see the preview for the next week's episode?
Here are the ground rules. I handle the business. Is that absolutely clear?
It's time to tell me the truth, Walt. I'm not leaving here until I know.
How are we going to fit a lab in here?
Who said here? This is your problem. It should come out of your end.
Just because you shot Jesse James, don't make you Jesse James.
I actually, when I watched it again today, I stopped it before that even happened. Just because, you know what? I didn't really want to get into it.
You didn't want... I just want to know what it's called.
I don't know. Yeah, you'd have to look it up. Well, I didn't want to get off on a tangent of... Well, I don't know. We're starting new with this whole thing. So but at the same time, I didn't want to get on and talk in 20 minutes about what could happen next week.
Right.
Figured, with the recapping and the. But yeah, I don't know.
No, I more like the examining the clues of episode by episode. That's what the show is. Well, but the next one's called Hazard Pay. I have no idea what that could mean, but
I don't know. I mean, where this one left off?
Well, it left off in a very long, drawn-out, rapey scene. He mind raped her, I think. Yeah. He mind raped his wife. Just like, listen, it'll be fine. You'll get used to killing people and poisoning children.
But he said, hey, you'll soon see that everything we do it for family.
Right.
Yeah,
no, he said we do
his
it.
Whole thing in this, he doesn't realize. At first, you were doing this for family, but now it's gotten to the point where it's an ego thing with him. Although he is broke and still owes Jesse $40,000 for borrowing the money from him, I think, to pay off that magnet.
Right, and I'm glad they cleared that up because I'm always wondering, like, how much money does he have right now? I never knew.
And he has none. Skylar gave it all to Ted.
Yeah, fucking Skylar.
600 and some thousand. I thought he had much more than that. It was been going on for a year. I thought he had tons of money, but apparently
so did I. But yeah,
he's had to pay Saul a ton too. Remember, because Saul's like plus 50%. Because this is highly illegal.
Yeah.
But now he has to keep going. But he would never stop. I don't think he would ever stop.
I don't think I think that we really saw that because when he was like, we have. The really telling scene was when Walt and Jesse were looking for the cigarette and in his apartment. Walt, well knowing that it's not there, but Walt just kept saying, this is fine. Everything worked out because we did this together. We were in this together, and we saved each other's lives together so that we could move on. And Jesse's like, move on to what?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's thinking, this whole thing we got out by the skins of our teeth, and now we're done. Yeah. And Walt's no, we are going to keep doing this. Just we're in charge now.
One thing I just thought of when you kept saying together, and that's what he kept saying. Yeah, he wants them. I mean, they're a team in this, and although he has tried to, fuck Jesse a few times and has done this stuff to him, he wants Jesse to be like, yes, Walt believes in me. Mr. White believes in me. He needs me, and we're a team. That's exactly his manipulating him again. I need you. We're a team. We're together in this.
Right.
Now let me put this cigarette in the Roomba and make you think that we had lost it, and here it is. We found it.
Yeah. And then he's just breaking down crying, and you're just like, God damn it. No, you didn't just lose it,
Right.
And even thought to check the Roomba, so.
That's how smart Walt is, though, dude.
Oh, man.
Genius.
I don't know. It's a genius show, and it's just amazing. I'll say it again, how very quickly here in the last few episodes, how my opinion and who I'm rooting for in the show just drastically changes from episode to episode. Now I just want to see what happens. I'm not really rooting for anybody. I kind of hope Jesse gets out. Really hope Mike, ends up okay. Walt, well, now he's doing stuff that's just straight up hardcore evil.
Yeah. We'll just see what happens to you. But Mike, come on.
But Mike, I hope you at least get back to Mexico or something.
Mike could do it, dude. Mike could be the ender of the whole thing. Who knows?
Yeah, he's the only level-headed one of the bunch.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we have anything else for this week. I think we covered it pretty well. Was there anything else in your notes that you wanted to bring up?
No, like I said, we kind of skipped around and actually touched on most of them. I'm really curious to see who this grandson, like I said, who this grandson is. He's the head guy.
Yeah, and I'm very anxious
saw him.
To hear about him, and I'm very anxious for Hank to finally put it together, at least a little bit, to where there's a little cat and mouse going on, It's fine, you can sneeze. I can edit that out.
My bad.
But there's a little bit of cat and mouse going on last season that I really liked with the whole Walt and Gus, who's going to get who. I think that's going to come back with Hank and Walt at some point. Obviously, yeah. I'm just tired of waiting for it. I mean, this is like the Jim and Pam is to The Office, like Walt and Hank is to Breaking Bad. It's like, God, will you please just figure it out already? We've been waiting.
Oh, it's going to happen. You're right. I mean, that's what's cool, actually. Those last 8 episodes, there's your cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Until it finally comes down to it. for sure.
Well, like this Aaron Paul said in this interview, you know, it's a brutal 8 we have left, and we're only on episode 2, so I think they're really setting us up to knock our heads off here in a few episodes.
Oh, God, yes. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait.
All right, well, we'll wrap it up now till next week. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for our analysis, I guess you would call it, on episode 3, entitled Hazard Pay, next week.
Yep,
We'll see you then.
Our gibberish talk about it.
Yes, we'll gibberish talk about it for a while. All right, we'll see you all next week.
Yep.
As always, you can check us out at talkingbad.blogspot.com. There you can check out some of the past episodes, stream any of the episodes, and leave us some comments about some things you'd like us to talk about a little bit more, or some things we got wrong. We do this podcast for free for everyone who enjoys the show, because I think it's fun to have a little conversation with it. However, we would like to make a little bit of money off this, but we are not going to ask for any donations. We would not beg for free money for doing something we like. However, if you check out this book we made that's available in the iTunes store for the iPad 2, it's called Bet You Didn't Know. It's basically an interactive trivia book, a bathroom reader, if you would, for the digital age. It's got a long list and many, many, many pages of facts, but a lot of which contain videos and links to further explore these facts. It's a little something we put together a while back. It's available on the iTunes store right now. It's the cheapest iBook I think that's on there outside of being free. So click the link right now on your whatever you're listening to, and it should take you right there. Or just search for Betcha Didn't Know in the iTunes store. That's BETCHA Didn't Know. And yeah, it's worth your while. It's a lot of fun.